Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the goblinrides podcast, where we're going to be discussing everything motorcycle related and everything not. And today, again, of course, I'm joined by the lovely wifey here. We got a couple of topics today. We're going to be discussing, one, the issues with KTM. There's quite a lot of news going on around how they're struggling financially quite a lot. And also, we're going to be discussing whether or not small bikes promote bad habits. Fascinating stuff. How are you doing, wifey, anyway? Are you doing okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah, you doing all right? Anything interesting happen over the last week or so? No, nothing?
Not really.
I think we're just building up to Christmas now, aren't we, pretty much? And that's perhaps the most exciting thing. Well, I mean, yeah, I've upgraded my computer now almost entirely. So that's quite an exciting thing for me.
Did my grading, didn't I? Martial arts grading.
That's true, yeah, you did. Yeah, martial arts grading, yeah.
So.
I didn't grade her, by the way. It was somebody else that did it because conflict of interest and all that. But dog's here as well. There you go. He wants to say hello to everybody. But no, I mean, we've been watching loads of Top Gear. Like, we've been addicted to Top Gear recently. But the Paddy,
Chris and
Flintoff one, and it's really good.
It is good, to be fair. Because
before I was a bit skeptical of the whole thing, really, but I feel now that we're watching it and it's really good, I feel really guilty for feeling the way I did before because it wasn't the original three.
Yeah.
But that formula they had was really good.
But by the same token, you feel bad because there's no more coming at the moment. So
that's right. Yeah, that's it. They shelved it.
Yeah.
For now, which I think's an absolute crime.
I thought it's the latest victim in car shows being stopped, isn't it? Well, it's not the latest, but it's one of the recent.
I think Fifth Gear's still going though.
For now.
So yeah, all the big ones have gone apart from Fifth Gear.
Yeah.
Which is interesting, but yeah, really sad, man. Because that trio, they really work. It's so funny.
Yeah.
Such a funny show. And I really do think that they made it different enough to make it a worthwhile watch. So
because I really enjoy it and I enjoy all of it. Whereas with the original trio, before I was really getting into my cars, I more enjoyed the specials. Whereas I get quite interested in what Chris has to say.
Yeah.
And his reviews, and But then again, I'm more into cars now than I was, so maybe that's why.
I think it lost a bit of momentum when they had Chris Evans doing it and Matt LeBlanc.
Yeah.
Like, Matt LeBlanc might have been a good pick, but he was never going to be a permanent choice. And then Chris Evans, he doesn't look like a petrol head, does he? He looks like a normal everyday journalist rather than a motor journalist.
He's got the face for radio.
Yeah, he does, doesn't he? Yeah, I think that's a good way to describe it, which is unfortunate. I think that's when it started losing momentum.
But the thing is, they were making it too satirical with things like, you remember when he got brought in on a stretcher or something? It was really weird. There was just some really bizarre things that he did, because I watched a couple of episodes and I stopped because I just didn't like how he did it. Yeah. And I think that put a bad taste in my mouth to an extent of the new chapter of Top Gear. But now we're back. Now it feels like we're back with three people that really gel. They're really funny, but they're funny in a different way to how the original three were.
They're funny in a significantly less mature way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's very crude, but it really works because Paddy, he's just a funny guy, full stop. Anything that comes out of his mouth is just funny.
It is funny.
But then when you have, because he eggs on Flintoff,
it does get funny.
And Chris is meant to be the serious journalist, but he can't help himself but get involved.
He gets drawn into it,
and it's just they're just so naughty. It's
but I
great.
think as well, we're at an age where we're both really into our vehicles at the moment, cars, bikes, that sort of thing, and we're able to watch people who aren't that much older than us, really. They're only in their 40s. That's not that much older.
That's quite a bit older than us.
Yeah, but
we're not even in our mid-30s yet.
But compared to us watching Clarkson, Hammond and May,
True, yeah.
they're not that. So do you know what I mean? their immaturity is more relatable to us
True.
than how it was when the original three were doing it originally.
So do you think it appeals more to a younger audience these days?
I think it does. Plus, you've got Flintoff, who, for some reason, that kid, a massive cricket fan, didn't realise.
Yeah. No, don't give any spoilers.
No,
just
honestly,
in case anyone's not
so
watched
funny.
it.
But yeah, you've got Flintoff appeals to a certain audience, Paddy McGuinness appeals to a different audience, and Chris appeals to another audience, and they brought everyone together.
Yeah.
And it's nice. And I've got a lot of respect for Chris Harris.
Oh yeah, he's very good at what he does. Like,
Yeah.
well, in terms of journalism, but also because he's an ex racing driver, isn't he? I think he's done
some
professional racing before.
yeah.
And racing's in his blood.
Yeah.
So
in his mum, from his mum.
From his mum, which is even cooler as
Yeah.
well. Like, his dad couldn't drive, but his mum.
Yeah. So
Absolutely hilarious. Yeah, what a brilliant show, and it just really disappoints me that it's been shelved and pretty much shelved for good.
but we do have Chris and Paddy on the road to watch afterwards. So
That's true. Yeah, hopefully that's just as good.
hopefully.
Fingers crossed, we'll see. But yeah, apart from that, I mean that's it. We're getting ready for Christmas. And well, by the way, just a reminder, if you didn't see last week's show, we'll be going live. When did we say? Was it the 17th?
I think it's 19th.
19th. Thursday,
19th.
the 19th of December. We're going to go live. It won't be the final video of the year. There'll be one more the day after, but yeah, that'll be the last time that we do a format like this for the year.
Yeah.
We're going to have a couple of weeks off. I can't remember when we said we'd come back, but I think we're going to look at coming back. Right, Friday the 3rd sounds all right, doesn't it? That sounds okay. Starting again from Friday 3rd. It'll either be Friday or Monday the 6th. One of those days,
Yeah.
I think. But yeah, looking forward to Christmas. Can't wait. I love this time of year. I think it's absolutely fantastic. So we've got one more podcast I think we're going to have booked in for next Friday. And then what I might do, because we're going to be doing live on the 19th, for the 20th, I think I might switch things up a little bit and have either a moto vlog or something else out that day.
Sure.
Yeah. Okie dokie. Cool. Yeah. What a time. What a time we're living at the moment. KTM going into self-administration as 2024 financial year expected to end a 3-digit million loss. That is absolutely insane, you guys. Because I mean, KTM. I don't really know how long KTM have been involved with road bikes, but they started off, I believe, doing the enduros, the dirt bikes, the off-road stuff. That's where they really specialized in, and they did stir up the industry a little bit when they started entering bikes onto the road, because a lot of them were, well, a little bit different to what everyone else was doing, and I think that's why KTM found a decent foothold, a decent niche in the market. And I've always wanted to have a KTM myself as well. I know that they've had their issues and things like that with certain bikes, but at the same time, I think they're a brand that, well, I didn't expect them to be going into administration. As you know, we've had issues with Harley Davidson as well this year. This is just such a bad year for motorcycles, but yeah, we'll undertake a 90-day self-administration process in a bid to restructure the company and move forward towards the end of their current financial difficulties. Again, this is one of those things that hasn't been happening for long. Excuse me. This is one of those things that has been happening for a while. We're just hearing about it now. You know what I mean? But crazy stuff. I mean, this isn't going to be the end of KTM. If they're doing this now, I think it's to try.
They're trying to get ahead of it, aren't they?
Yeah, it's like damage control probably at this point. But
yeah,
over the past 3 decades, we've grown to become Europe's largest motorcycle manufacturer. That doesn't surprise me. I would have thought BMW would be the biggest, but that wouldn't surprise me if that statement was true. But yeah, are they working on electric stuff as well?
I haven't a clue.
I don't know. But yeah, because this news has been out for...
I'm reading that.
Sorry. This news has been out for a week now, I think. Maybe a couple of weeks. So it is fairly fresh. But Yeah, the application for self-administration was submitted on the 29th of November.
So it says here, like other manufacturers, the ready-to-race brands experiencing issues with excessive stock in the marketplace, with sales struggling in locations including the UK, brought on by issues including the cost of living, a general election, rising insurance prices, the perceived threat of motorcycle theft, and more. Can I help you? Come on then.
Aw.
The process will be submitted November 29th for self-administration, or the application, sorry. So it's literally gone in now.
Yeah.
Effectively allow KTM 90 days to manage their assets under supervision and potentially agree to a new reorganisation plan with their creditors. Oh, okay, so it's not saying this is the end. It's a restructure of how they're going to do things.
Yeah, I think going into self-administration is a little bit different.
It's not forced.
Yeah. It's not because... Well, they feel like they have to right now to try and stop themselves from going bust in future. But if they have another bad year or another bad couple of years, then at that point we might start seeing some even worse news coming down the pipeline.
Well, this is quite interesting. So, second paragraph on there. The announcement is the latest in a long line of drastic changes with parent company... I can't actually read that from here.
Pierre Mobility.
Already cutting their executive board from 6 to 2 members this year. Hundreds of job losses, increased manufacturing migration to India and China, and a 25% drop in planned production back in early September.
So they've already been trying to scale things back.
It looks like it almost sounds like it's just trickled through. So from parent company right the way down into the subsidiaries, it's the effect is being felt all the way through.
Yeah. I can't believe it, man.
No. It just feels like every other week we're going to be saying, oh, this brand is struggling, this brand is struggling.
That's how it literally feels. And it says, to help turn the tide on excessive stock on the market, KTM are also aiming to cut 1 billion euros worth of operating performance at their Austrian plants. And further job cuts. So, bloody hell.
It's really sad because these people, and like obviously we met people at Completely Motoring, didn't we? And Completely Motorbikes, and we became friendly with them. And these were people who had a...
Sorry, it's my shoe.
I thought it was a dog.
Sorry.
These are people who had a real passion for what they were doing. And you don't often get to turn your passion into a career. And the fact that these people have now got to go and get a job doing something that they probably don't enjoy as much is really sad.
But another worrying sign is how much this production is moving away from Austria and to India and China.
Yeah.
Like, I get that cost of labor and things like that is less over there. But at the same time, you just wonder about the build quality of these things. I know a lot of stuff nowadays gets built in India and China, but things that are meant to be premium, like these kinds of bikes, like Japanese bikes, things like that. I mean, even BMW are meant to be premium, but they are exporting their manufacturing now to India and China.
Yeah.
It's just... These companies are struggling. Now. They're struggling right now. Imagine what it's going to be like in 10 years' time when everyone's being pushed towards EVs.
Yeah.
It's just... it's scary, man. But, clearly KTM, they're making too many motorcycles and not selling enough. I think this is the issue here.
Yeah, that's what they've said. They've got excess stock.
Exactly. So what they're looking to do, it seems right now, is to scale back their production to try and stay with the demand, if you know what I mean, with the demand of the market. So that's probably a good thing. And I wonder if all of this growth in their manufacturing and stock was, again, because of the pandemic, where people had money to spend, so people buying more and more bikes. So they were like, right, we've got to build more bikes.
Supply and demand.
Exactly. But now that demand is slowed down a lot, one, because of cost of living, but two, because people are going back to their normal everyday lives, go on holiday and things like that. They don't have quite as much money to spend on things like motorcycles. That kind of makes sense, I guess.
Yeah.
But regardless, still...
And I mean,
still a crazy thing. I mean, remember, throughout my entire life, I've only ever bought one new car and one new motorcycle.
I was about to say, people are buying used.
Exactly. The used market is a no-brainer.
I've never had a new car.
No.
have had a new bike.
Yeah.
But that's a different story.
So and the thing is as well, used bikes, they give you so much better value for money. It's kind of a no-brainer.
It's interesting. I was talking to my dad the other day about the state of the motorcycle market, as you do.
Just carry a conversation.
No, genuinely, just does with me and my dad. And he was saying he'd been talking to someone. You know, my dad meets people on his travels and starts talking with them. And this guy was saying that his opinion is that the cost of the bikes and the insurance and everything is too, on a new bike at least, is too high for the younger riders. So it's been targeted. So the only people who can really do it is the older riders who have the more disposable cash, but they're not buying these big bikes anymore. And so therefore the demographic is kind of a little bit all over the shop.
But do you think they should be enticing younger riders? Like, fine, fair enough, have like a premium range of bikes for the older generations that have a bit more cash, but focus a lot of their production towards trying to make bikes cheaper for younger people. Because the thing is, like, we already have this issue of not enough younger riders coming through the woodwork, and we've got this aging population of motorcyclists right now. It's only going to get worse if these manufacturers don't try to make things cheaper. The
only way that the motorcycle industry has any hope in hell of surviving is by the constant turnover of new riders.
Yeah.
And if we're not enticing new riders in with, I'm not saying, give them an incentive like, I don't know, $2,000 off a bike or anything, but what I'm saying is make it appealing to them.
Yeah.
Don't.
Well, I wonder if they should offer, because one of the things that's really expensive is insurance as well. So I'm wondering if they should offer insurance when you buy the motorcycle, offer insurance that's at a discount because you're buying a motorcycle, have an insurance sponsor, if you like, or something like that.
Do you remember back in the day, like this is a long time ago, where if you did a Pass Plus, it would make your car insurance go down?
Not really.
But
I remember the idea.
Stop. Let me finish.
I know what you're saying.
So the concept was that.
Yeah.
So if they said new riders, there is this incentive. If you do this, like, I don't know, I'm just picking stuff out of the air. This, I don't know, you do your CBT, then you do like a rider safety course as well. This is not saying,
I know.
Then that will bring your insurance down because you will be considered safer. Something like that. And, people might go, actually, there's a good idea. I can ride and my insurance will be lower.
The problem is that insurance companies are rogues.
Yeah.
A lot of them don't really care about this kind of stuff. Yes, ideally, something like that would help because you're investing a little bit more into your training and getting a little bit more experience. So insurance companies, they really should pick up on that, but they don't.
But it
ends up being a scam.
It's like with cars. You can do these under 17 driving things, can't you? And it's almost like they need to do it for riders and be like, right, come to us for a day, come and try it. And then that's where they're then going to start to get that taste for it and then go on to their CBT and all that sort of stuff. So there needs to be, I know we've gone slightly off piece, but there needs to be some more incentives to get new riders in so that people are from, the age of 16, 17, really want to, sorry, it stinks.
It's fine.
Really, I can taste it, that one.
Oh, dear. Nice.
So, yeah. That went in my mouth.
Just hit me.
By enticing younger riders in, you're then going to be creating more audience and more consumers for these companies. As these older riders
retire or die,
yes, pass on, keep going, decide to stop riding, you're losing a massive demographic of riders. People like my dad, who is in his 60s still riding, but has been riding since he was about 15.
I think manufacturers, they do have a responsibility to try and entice younger riders mainly, but not just that, but female riders as well. Try and get them more involved as much as they can. I know that riding bikes is a more male-orientated hobby, but there are lots of girls that might have an interest there, but aren't really getting involved because of, I don't know, the stigma or something like that. To be fair to KTM, they have quite a well-stocked roster.
Yeah.
They go from 125 all the way to, well, I say all the way up to A2, so the 390s. Then they go up as well to the 790s, and then the 1290s, now the 1390s. So they've got a wide range of motorcycles that people have the option of buying. So I don't think choice is the issue here.
No.
I think a lot of it, well, one is cost for sure, but I just.
Do you know what?
Because it's like that article, because we're going to do a dedicated podcast on this as well. The article you sent me about motorcyclists using bus lanes.
Oh yeah, that's true.
And the response that there was to that.
From the government,
and you just think to yourself, well, this is a huge industry, a huge global industry. And let's not forget Triumph are still making motorcycles here in the UK that are going to be affected by the attitude of local councils and local governments to not entice people to ride motorcycles.
Here's a controversial opinion about getting women into riding. It can be really intimidating because all the people I've spoken to, CBT instructors and this sort of thing, are all men.
Well,
so if they made a female-led, female-only riding school for CBTs and stuff like that,
you could do that.
Oh no, I couldn't.
Couldn't you?
But isn't it a thought? Women go to a place where they feel safe. They're not going to feel judged. It's all women. They could do their CBT. They could do their practice for their test and whatever it is they want to do. And, you know, I think that would make so many people feel more comfortable.
Absolutely. I have no doubt whatsoever. I think it's just...
There is a solution. Just people aren't willing to try it.
It's a bit of a chicken and egg scenario, though, isn't it? Because it's like, well, first you want to have the female role models there, but there has to be an audience there for those female role models. So it's a bit like, well, you know, do you need the female riders first, or do you need the female influencers or role models first? I think that's one of the issues there with that.
I follow some motorcycle accounts online. I think I follow 4, and 3 of them are women. But they're all in America.
Well,
even
when we look at our demographics, so when I check out the YouTube analytics for our videos, the amount of females is like 1%, 2% of viewers, which is unfortunate and really sad. But that is the reality of it. I don't know if they could make like a paint job or something like that of a particular line of motorcycles a bit more female friendly.
Well,
just something, you know how you get like cars that seem to appeal more to female drivers.
Yeah.
Kind of have a similar approach to motorcycles. Again, that's increasing manufacturing and increasing cost.
But, hear me out.
Is perhaps no payoff.
But the lady I follow in America called RN Barbie, she's amazing. Honestly, go check her out on Instagram. She's phenomenal. She has her bikes wrapped.
Yes.
So instead of it being, I think she's got a Kawasaki, I think. I might get confused with someone else. But she goes and she gets it wrapped in pink. So she can take it off and change it whenever she wants.
Yeah.
So it saves the manufacturing cost for Kawasaki, KTM, whatever. But then that female can go and put her own spin, or that person put their own spin on the bike.
I know, but anyone can do that.
But what I'm saying is Do
you think there should be a factory option, do you think? That's what you're saying. Like when you buy the bike, they say, well, do you want the choice of wraps?
No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is there's no excuse. So you know, you can say bikes look masculine because they're black and they're blue and they're red, but it's like getting a car wrapped.
But even when it comes down to just the general shapes of motorcycles, they're very aggressive, very male orientated, testosterone filled things. That's what they look like most of the time. They don't look gentle. They don't look fair. They don't look, I don't know. Like when you look at a car like a Mazda 2,
but if you want,
or a Mini,
but if you want a gentle bike, get a Vespa.
But I think Vespas appeal more to women than motorcycles do.
Maybe.
So that's what I mean. Vespas have got something in there that appeals to women. There's probably a bigger proportion of women that ride Vespas across the world than there are women that ride other types of motorcycles.
When you watch a lot of rom-coms and they go to Italy, they get on the Vespa. So it's in the media.
Yeah.
But we've really gone off topic, sorry.
Yeah, well, no, the thing is, though, it all ties in together, doesn't it? The whole reason why these motorcycle manufacturers are struggling is because there's not enough young people buying bikes. There's not enough young people in there buying bikes. And yeah, okay, fair enough. That's to do with a lot of it with financial situations that we find ourselves in at the moment. But the problem is that by the time you get to 25 years old here in the UK, so you can do a direct access course when you're 25 years old to get your full license. The problem is that at that point, young people have got too many responsibilities at that point. They don't really care as much as they might have done before, or they might not have had as much of they might have had more of an interest before than they do now because their priorities change. As you get older, your priorities change. But that interest we should be trying to nurture, and we're not. That's the issue. And of course, enticing them to buy cheaper bikes is one thing, but I don't know, man. I think there has to be a shift towards what the practical benefits are of riding bikes to make them cheaper again to run, make them that cheaper alternative to buying a car. That's what I had to do. That's why I started riding bikes first, because I couldn't afford to run a car at the time.
Yeah.
So, and I had an interest in bikes anyway to begin with, but the fact that I was able to get myself around and have that sense of freedom that not many of my other friends had at the time, because they all wanted to get into cars, I could get around.
Yeah.
And it was convenient for me, and it worked out for me quite well. But that doesn't seem to be as much of an option anymore for younger riders. Riding bikes isn't necessarily cheaper than riding a car anymore.
No.
Or running a car anymore. Because you can get something like a Toyota Yaris or a Vauxhall Corsa, and the insurance will be cheaper on that than it would be on the motorcycle. I don't know if that's all because of the theft thing. I don't know. But it's just, again, one of those things that, because it's not necessarily the cost of the bike that's the issue, it's the cost of the insurance. When we have some of these people leaving comments about insurance, and they say things like, well, here in London, it cost me $4,000 to insure my bike. That's outrageous. And that's for an old Yamaha R125 or something. Like, yeah, okay, I get that there'll be a premium for insurance, but double the cost of the bike for a year? Are you kidding me?
And that's when people start to go, it's not worth it.
Exactly.
And that's where people get turned off.
So maybe the issue then isn't necessarily that motorcycle manufacturers have got to make their bikes cheaper. It's insurance companies are taking advantage of younger people. I'm sorry. An insurance company should never charge more than the cost of the bike.
No.
Because that doesn't make any sense, does it? They charge more than the cost of the bike. Like, what? They can only pay out as much as the bike is worth. What's that all about? That's criminal. Absolutely criminal. So, I don't know, man. But, I mean, I don't know if you heard. I didn't read into it too much, but there was this news article that came out the other day about new legislation that insurance companies have to abide by, where I can't remember exactly how it's all going to work, but our premiums should be cheaper by next year. Going into next year, they should be cheaper. I bet that doesn't apply to motorcycles.
Probably.
And I bet that doesn't apply to young people either.
Probably not.
So, yeah, man, I don't know. It's a ridiculous situation that we find ourselves in at the moment. And because we don't have as many young people getting involved, there's not as many people to buy these new bikes. And as much as I know there are going to be people that don't like KTM as much and things, that's fair enough. But it's a competitor in the space. The more competition you have, the better it is for everybody else. The more innovation, the cheaper it is for everybody. Literally, the more people you have involved and the more competitive it is, the better it is for us as consumers.
We're stuck in a cycle right now, aren't we?
We absolutely are. So I don't know if KTM are involved in any other manufacturing. I suspect not. I think they specialize in motorcycles, and that's pretty much it. A bit like Harley Davidson. Whereas all the Japanese brands, they have other businesses that they can fall back on. So even if their motorcycle businesses fail, heaven forbid, they at least will survive in one form or other. So we were going to be talking about another subject here, but I think today we'll leave it because we end up talking about this more than I expected.
And a lot, yeah, fair enough.
And I think it's a bit of a rabbit hole because someone who doesn't necessarily understand bikes aren't necessarily going to know what the real impact is of something like this.
Yeah.
But when you are a motorcyclist and you have been for a long time, you see this kind of stuff and it makes you think things are bad. So, I mean, I hope you guys don't mind that we didn't get around to talking about our other subject today. We want to try and time box these podcasts to half an hour if we can, max. And we've just hit that time limit now. So, yeah, but we'll talk about that next week, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, we'll talk about that. Yeah, whether or not small bikes are a bad influence on young people or younger riders. Yeah, we'll see.
Let us know what your thoughts are about that, because then we can always bring that in, couldn't we?
Yeah,
well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And discuss your points as well. So let us know.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, actually, maybe we could do that going forward. Like, announce the subject of the following week's show,
and then get your thoughts ahead of time.
Get your input in the comments beforehand, so we can go through them. That would be interesting. Yeah, that'll be good. That'll be good then, because then it'll be a regular thing.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, yeah, all right, let's do that. So next week's next week's podcast, should I say? Live show's in a couple of weeks' time. It's going to be whether or not small bikes promote bad habits in well, not just young riders, but any kind of rider.
General,
just in general, whether or not they promote bad habits. Well, let us know what you think about that down in the comment section below. We'll pick at some of those thoughts that some of you may have had. But I feel for KTM as a company. I hope that this is just a thing that they're doing right now, but it sounds like their losses have been pretty big over the last year. So we'll see. A company can't run like that forever. It's like when we did our Harley Davidson one, someone in the comments said, oh, Harley Davidson have been operating a loss for decades. And it's like, no, they haven't. Because if they had, they wouldn't be around anymore. So these companies have to make money.
Yeah.
Simple as that. We've seen how quickly companies will fold.
Apparently, my dad was saying that the Triumph garages have started to close down as well now.
Mm-hmm. And again, they're not selling enough bikes. Simple as that. What are we gonna do? This is ridiculous.
I don't know.
So anyway, well, we'll see what impacts this all has next year. I hope that we don't have any news of Triumph having issues. But it does seem like a lot of dealerships have been closing down. That doesn't necessarily mean that the actual manufacturers are having issues. That just means that the dealers are having issues. And I think they're franchised. So it's not like they are run by the manufacturers. I'm sure there are some dealerships across certain countries that are actually directly run by the manufacturers. But for the most part, it doesn't work like that, I don't think. But... And everybody, thank you ever so much for joining us on our podcast today. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below about KTM. And I know this news has been out for a little while now, but do you run KTM? How do you think this is going to impact you? You know, have you bought KTM for a long time? Well, do you think you're going to be able to buy KTM in the future? Let me know down in the comment section below. But yeah, thanks again, everyone. Take care, ride safe. We'll catch you all in the next video. Have a good one.